Okay. There's a, thank you. I'm always mixing Hungarian and English. Okay. So, hi. Um, Everything you see on movies belongs to somebody else's certain level of consciousness and certain level of interpretation, their perception, the way they view things. It's not a fact. And and I know I bring this very often to your attention to, for example, watch the Cold Rescue, perfect one. A woman who is in pain, in physical pain, start being in physical pain, um, and how this movie is actually made is not impartial. It is they're taking sides. But you can, whatever. So if you're smarter, if you're more intelligent, you will see through it because you are awakening. You know exactly how you have to view this. If you have no fear in you, you're not going to interpret it based on your fears and based on your limited perceptions or limited consciousness. So, really, until you hold fear in yourself, you're going to view things in a fearful manner. Of course, this does not mean that you disregard your intuition, okay? So, fear or intuition and knowing what leads me to a better place and really will give me exactly what I really want um, helps you a lot not to go too deep into a forest which is not your place or whatever. Like, for example, I met somebody who was not really, he's more like a younger soul. And the funny thing was, he was, younger souls are all about experiences. They don't listen to their intuition. Their intuition is not as strong. And they work based on their instinct, which is the, the five basic instinct, which is just bodily needs and, other stuff. And they are here for collecting a lot of experiences, which will eventually lead them back into their, higher selves and whatever. So to their true self. So once they're gonna reach the point where they are ready for complete self-liberation in one of their lifetimes, then they're gonna do it. But right now, there are a lot of those people who you're, like they're killing each other and doing this, doing that, whatever. They are on a lower level of consciousness, animalistic level. That's it. Instinct level. That's it. And it has everything got to do with their soul ages. So they need to collect a lot of data, a lot of experiences, because this is how they're gonna learn, and this is how they're gonna become more. And will learn about themselves and all that other stuff. But they are just too much in the beginning. And of course, there are a lot of those who came for self-liberation, complete self-liberation, to really stand in their own inner power and realize, them, realize their God consciousness actually, and really just see through everything, see through the illusion, which is matter, and they are here to really solve it all for themselves, of course, because everybody has to do this. This is a personal journey, and just because we share whatever, we also have this built in. We would like to share our knowledge. This is built in. It's like whatever we learn, we want to share. Whatever we found out, we want to share because it is just natural to us. And because for some reason, we also know that not because we want to force that wisdom and knowledge which we already obtained through our lifetimes after lifetimes after lifetimes, like old souls. But because it is natural, this feeling is built in us. So we are that. We are love, and love is in that sense is sharing. It's okay, whatever I know. And anyway, the funny thing is, but it's not about forcing it on every, I don't know, person that you meet on the street. No, 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 no. And this is like, thank God for YouTube, right? Because you can just share whatever you go through. And believe me, and really, this is how it is. The ones that truly needed that information will find that information. They will be drawn to your videos or songs or whatever that you do, whatever it is, or your artwork or whatever comes out of a soul and comes out of your soul naturally, is taking you exactly where you always wanted to be, or at least giving you this an amazing bathing in your joyful energies. It's like you are bathing in your own gifts, and it gives you such joy that whatever overflows, it's it's the frequency of that joy. And whoever will read your book or listen to you or watch your paintings, which came out of your soul and not pretense, it will be enjoyed by many. And so basically, with the superstitious stuff, whatever that comes out of, like for example, if you watch a movie which is scary and which, whatever, it was created by a dark interpretation, a way of interpreting things in a dark matter, which is not completely understood. Like for example, of course, there are other worldly energies, and we can see beyond, like we are multidimensional. But when you don't have no more fear in you, you will not interpret anything as fear. Uh, so when you really match your own, you face your own fear, your primal fear, the reptilian fear, which is in all of us. It's hidden there, but you're only gonna face that. Uh, I'm saying before Kundalini awakening, some people might not experience that, whatever I had to, but I wanted to become completely fearless. So basically, our subconscious and conscious is working in sync, and exactly took me to the experience that I needed in order to face that fear. Because prior to that, I already knew that obsession is dissolved by or through obsession. Addiction is dissolved, dissolving through addiction, and fear can be dissolved through really facing that primal fear, the first fear, basically, the first and ultimate fear of your first separation from self, from you. And in other videos, I mentioned this, and it is very important because exactly that fear will contain your soul's monad. And if you go on Facebook and you look me up, you will see in the logo, in the whatever profile picture, the code, the symbol for soul's monad. And I wrote a few line through I cannot speak, few line underneath, and it basically is all about the original blueprint of the soul before it was tainted in any way by any physical existence. So whenever you took form the first time, not in this life, billions of years ago, like if you're an old soul, ancient soul, you been here and there and in other civilizations and different worlds and different existence and different forms. Of course, this is not known by average Joe, because it's not a knowledge or not a knowing of a lower dimensional, lower level of consciousness human, a disconnected human. So no wonder that those old mystery schools were holding these knowledges very sacred and very secret in that sense. Why? Because it does not need to be known by everybody. And the funny thing is that my video will be only seen by those who are really in the vicinity of my consciousness. They will be the only people that will be drawn to my videos. My videos are not going to be very popular for a long, long time because a lot of, the higher you go on the level of consciousness, on Jacob's ladder, uh, then you will have less and less people. So basically, you become more and more invisible outside because your frequency will just rise in that sense so much. And it's not that you're gonna be like a physically invisible, but you know people who are disconnected from themselves, they will not get you. They will not get what you're saying. They will not really are tuned into it. Some of them who are already awakening, of course, will be. And even then, not everybody, because you have a certain frequency, a quality of frequency, and imprint, and you have your soul tribe who will be attracted to your wisdom or knowledge or light, that frequency. Basically, it's you to your energy, but it's not everybody. And the other thing is, like, sometimes people ask me, why is that this teacher says this, the other teacher says that, the other whatever. Because every teacher, I mean, if you can call them teacher, we just share. Nobody, I mean, everybody's a teacher and everybody's a student at the same time, so simultaneously. So, and I keep evolving. I don't stop. I keep going. I keep growing. And so it's not something that you finish or anything like that. And because every person that shares their truth is on one particular level of consciousness, and then the other is on another level of consciousness. And it's out of my own life's experience, when I remember when I came back to Hungary from the States, and because I lived there for so long, when I came back, I had a friend of mine, but my ego to fit in and wanting to have what others have was still very strong in me. I did not really know who I was. I had certain, of course, we all hold certain level of wisdom in us, no matter how fucked up we are. You know, it can come through, but still, the human in you, the mind in you, and the ego, because mind is ego, mind, whatever, is so attached to fit in or be with other people and all that stuff. And then a friend of mine was going, and I was like, for years before that, I was doing prana, and it's the same thing, kind of like Reiki and similar, whatever, it's energy work. And I was studying a little bit, but not in that deep, in that depth. I was not studying me that much. I wanted to know more about myself, but I was more drawn to healing methods and this and that, whatever other stuff. It was really the beginning, really, truly. And also, although this whole thing started in 2000, where my worldview started changing, and then of course when my life started changing, and I was attached to a certain level of a quality of living, and then I did not want to leave that behind, although my relationship did not work and I was very unhappy. And of course, because the relationship between me and me did not work anymore, like I was too much focused on the outside. And so basically, everything we interpret based on our experiences and level of consciousness and what we fear the most, and that's it. So I was going into spirituality and workshops and classes that eventually it just felt not mine. And I said, I received certain dreams about that something is not clear and something is not pure here, and then I just left in the middle of course. I was doing a course, whatever, some healing course. I just did not go there anymore. It was like it was the end of it. And but my friend and her daughter, that was their place. And after that, soon after that, we basically our path did split. We were not supposed to go together to that thing, but it was my attachment to certain people. I wanted to keep them in my life. And, certain people have to fade away out of our life. This is normal, this is change. And you have to allow change within you. And even your level of consciousness regarding abundance will change because you will have different value systems. And whatever was good enough for you will not be good enough, let's say, 2 years now, 2 years from now, that time, or a year from now, or whatever. It's just, we're changing. And it's really so true that change is the only thing that is constant, nothing else. But our mind is always attached to backwards. And the funny thing, there are certain reverse creations, and I'm not going to speak about that now, but many of us already know how to create on a grand scale, and but not through earning or working or doing other stuff in the human experience game like most of people do. And so, of course, and it's not really about, it's basically based on your self value and your spiritual currency, which feels the most and highest as you're in your current currency and current whatever way ever you are, if you know what I mean. And I wrote about this 2 years ago or even a year ago, like, what's your currency and current right now? Are you in your current and your current currency? Because current is that contains currency. So, and then eventually you're gonna get rid of, even in action, to be in another currency, like another level of currency. And so, whatever is your self worth at a time, which belongs to a certain level of consciousness, this is how it's going to be. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago it was good enough for you to make $2,000. But now, you have more knowledge, or you have more appreciation for your knowledge, and now you say, like, okay, or maybe you were like selling your artwork, and maybe your artwork was, as you were not as sure of yourself that your artwork is incredible, and maybe you were selling your artwork for, I don't know, $50. And now that you have more confidence, you have so much amazing energies are really painted on, because you're painting out of your soul. It's really like beautiful, and it's just wonderful. And maybe now your pictures are gonna cost like $500 a piece. I don't know. And then maybe there will be a day when it's gonna be like $1 million. What do I know? It's like, funny thing. Um, Grandmother Moses. Uh, she was painting. I think that was her name. She started painting when she was 77 years old. And first, of course, she was selling her pictures like, I don't know, a few bucks, in a little town, put in the shop window, and then some people bought it or whatever. She was, is this very childish paintings, basically like on an American farm where she grew up and all this. And eventually, somebody saw the picture, and and actually, they said, okay, I mean, this is great. And so they were really hooked on her picture. And I think that guy had a gallery somewhere, whatever. And then her picture started to become really famous or whatever, and really wanted. And then her most expensive most expensive painting was sold for over $1 million. So, and she did not stop painting till she was like, she died, I think it's when she was like 101 years old or something. And so basically, and she painted every day. And so you never know what's in you that wants to come out. And the funny thing is, now I'm still in my integration process and embodiment process, as I used to be an overwhelmed intuitive empath, but now, I'm on my way, I'm overcoming that overwhelmed empath, going fearless, knowing that I no longer believe that I'm here to carry other people's unresolved issues, or whatever, like we used to carry, like, because we were still in a way, in some form of victim consciousness, or we've been doing this for, I don't know, trying to save people for lifetimes, and eventually we finally figured it out, or actually got and aligned with the truth, with the new truth of a new level, with an upgrade, an update in our system, that basically everybody has the same capability and ability, and they need to learn to uh, save themselves, and they need to learn to heal themselves. So basically, you no longer, in that sense, you no longer identify yourself as a teacher or anything. It's just that, whatever, if somebody is interested, will watch it. If not, goes to another video. It doesn't matter. But it's all about these things. And so, on lower level of consciousness, we are still driven by fear. And a lot of people says, because I had a few um, light language channeling, but it is not my job really in this lifetime. I don't know what it's gonna be exactly, because I'm still in the embodiment process. And but I mean, I know exactly what it is. It's and probably it's like nothing even, actually. But it's just, I just like to speak about these experiences, and I'm just aligning with my joy in these moments, and that's why these videos are made. So basically, when you're afraid, a lot of people said, okay, I listened to one of your light language video, or like even Hungarians. For Hungarians, I have more. I made some more videos, and they said, yes, I heard it and I listened to it, but I got scared. And even, like in the old days, I was showing those sound therapists to people, but when they heard the first 2 minutes, not even a long thing, and they said, "Oh, this is scary for me. This is I'm so afraid. Whatever." And you know why they're afraid? Because they hold fear in themselves. They still hold, and that primal fear is underneath, and that primal fear can be always triggered. But what I wanted to do is become completely fearless, become completely free of everything that could be triggered in me. I wanted to be completely triggerless. And so sometimes less is more, right? I had those uh, those posts that I had in on Facebook, and I was like, okay, sometimes less is more. And I said, okay, be fearless, mindless, care less, and all that stuff, with some pause between the less and the main word. And so this is really what's important, actually. And it's funny, because when I started doing the videos that I was doing, I always wanted to make it perfect. And it took me so much time to have it perfect. And the work I did put in there, the energy I put in there. And just because I made it, it did not mean that more people watched it. And they were beautiful, they were perfect, they were this, they were that. But in this world, this is by perfection. I think we need to be more real than perfect. And we are perfect when we are real and true and honest and open and and all that, whatever it is, when we are in harmony with ourselves, when we are balanced within. And of course, before I always wanted to, like, I was a people pleaser and I was this and I was that. And eventually just figure out, that what's really important is that you and you become a partner. And and don't count on people, and don't, you know, don't take anything for granted, because just because today somebody is helping you, it doesn't mean that they need to help you tomorrow. And because it assists you, whatever, your time um, with them eventually just gonna be over. And the only person that you can count on is you. And so fear, what was that? And I heard this in somebody else's video, and that was a great sentence that I never forget. I always remember this, that superstition is the bastard child of fear. And I cannot tell you a more perfect sentence than this one. It is amazingly perfect. So our intelligence and our the our sophistication in communication is just increasing to a tremendous level. And and what's very important is that whenever you watch something, don't get sucked into the level of interpretation or viewpoint and angle which was that movie or book or whatever was written by. Because a lot of the times, this is what's really uh, hard for us and not so easy, especially for empath, not to be sucked into other people's fucked up channel, okay? And fucked up interpretation and fucked up perceptions. Because if it, because this is why The Cold Rescue is a great movie to watch, because don't take sides, but really as an awakening or awakened person, just look at it as holy cow, see how those that did not want to grow or change want to pull her back. And so see this movie in a way, and then see her how she is. She doesn't want to have anything. She gets so tired, so exhausted. And I experienced the same thing in my family. And how I was really like separating from them, and which is maturing, because we mature, we no longer fit into the crowd. And that is scary in the beginning. It was scary. And you feel like nobody really understands you. But you actually don't need anyone to understand you. You need to understand yourself. And the only thing I needed is me understanding me. And this is eventually it was, like, this is a full-time job. I wanted to. So when you go through the awakening process, the integration or the Kundalini awakening, and whatever that comes right after, and your whole body is burning. And the funny thing, one time I tried to talk to my mother, because she was like, what, whatever. And I said, please, I only want peace. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to whatever. I had to go through a certain experience, and it was very exhausting, and was my whole body is burning and stuff. And then she started her spewing her little old crap. Oh, I told you not to immerse yourself into such things so much. And yeah, because most people are afraid of immersing themselves into soul search and soul diving, and really come all the way, like whatever that my soul is craving. So at one time I told her, let's face it, you're not gonna become a completely liberated soul, at least not in this lifetime. So let's just forget each other in that sense. You do your stuff, I do my stuff, and I know my stuff, and you know your stuff. So this is very important, that you no longer try to fit in with those people because they cannot comprehend what you're going through. And it is very crucial at times. And sometimes that is why people come to me and then they say, okay, I just felt that I need to speak to you, that you might know and you can give me some answers in that sense. What am I experiencing? Because I'm going to share what I'm experiencing, and you maybe have a higher understanding in that sense because you already went through that. And this is what I really need. That at that point we just need to push them over the little bump, because they just feel stuck. They think that something is wrong with them, and then actually nothing is wrong with them, and it's just normal in that sense, normal for an awakening human to go through such things. And this is what we need to know, and this is why we probably all have the urge to share our experiences, and because this is this is what's normal actually. it, Whenever you are at this level, it's just normal that you want to share it, and not everybody will understand that, and that's okay too. And so basically, always try to look at things, movies, or even if you still read books. um, it's not about closing the mind, but it's like we are becoming our own guru in that sense. And I strictly rely on internal knowledge, and because this is all I need. I don't need anything else, because there was a time when I was binging on all kinds of knowledge, and I was like this spiritual junkie, you know, and it was like a drug to me. Of course, it was like first collecting data and ooh, looking here, looking there, everything I was reading, and then I got confused and more confused. So more knowledge is not necessarily like external knowledge. It's not necessarily helpful on your path. But at the time of or the phase of searching and seeking, when you are in that period, everybody does it. So at that in that sense, it's all normal. But you later will figure it out that it was maybe made it harder for you to be clear on certain things because you were reading this, that, whatever, then, and then you kept asking, at one point, what is the truth? Before you could see that the truth is within you and not out there. But anyway, we have all those things. But um, some people said, okay, they're all searching for something. And the funny thing, I even had dreams when I wanted to really speak. Um, I had those angels standing around me, and they did not allow anybody to see me. And then when I had nothing to say anymore, people started coming towards me. And that's so funny because that's really what it is. That actually very seldomly I feel that I have to share certain things, and I don't care if how many likes I have, I don't care how many people will see this or not see this, because actually I don't even know what I'm going to do or what I'm going to do anything at all or whatever, because it's like I'm laying on this cloud of unknowingness, and I'm just resting. I'm just this. And last year, when they said, "Okay, you're retired and back to balance," I'm just retired, and not in a sense as a like in a chronological age or something, but it's just it's just so amazing, how you get so peaceful and neutral, and I was writing about those things like we all become the angels of neutrality. It's like no sides. No, it's like nothing is bad, nothing is good. In that sense, it's not about that it's not about being happy or unhappy or sad or not. No, it's just peace, this complete peace within. And the only thing that will ensure your own peace is that you stop listening and identifying with your mind because that's the echo of the past, it's and the conditioned mind, or if you tune into other people's channel and you listen to their crap over and over again and you don't have healthy boundaries. When you have healthy boundaries, when you really are comfortable in your own beingness, you know what you want. The moment you feel, because that's how I feel it. The moment it feels like kind of like an irritation or feels like, okay, I don't want to listen to this anymore. And then I'm out of there because that's great. My body, it's kind of like feels in my body. I feel it in my body that something kind of start feeling off. And this is when I say, okay, and you have to always follow the hunches because that is built in system. It's a sensory perception and say, okay, don't give airtime for this crap. Move on. Stay in your peace. Stay in peace. And really it's like staying in your peace is the easiest when you do not want to tolerate anything. So basically the power of zero tolerance. I also heard somebody saying things on TED Talk, but this is what really hit me, that title, like the power of zero tolerance. And I love that. It felt so good because I feel everything. And it felt so good. Yes, that feels so good for me to do. It feels good for me and good to me, the power of zero tolerance. So because in the old time, in my old people pleasing time, I was tolerating shit to no end. I mean, that was really undermining my self confidence, my self value system, my self faith, my self trust. It did all the damage that could be because it's like this taught spirituality, which is the overextended fuck up shit. Oh, you have to listen to them. You have to whatever. No, I don't have to listen to fucking shit and nobody. And like it is not a natural. How can I say? It's not something because like when your mother is on a lower level of consciousness that you are, of course you don't want to fucking listen to her like fucking days, after day after day after day. You have to cut them. You have to cut them. It's not about you let them be who they are. You just don't spend time with them. That's it. You spend time with you. You make space for you. And like sometimes that space for me means I just go and, walk and I just sit on a bench. And God, how I mean sometimes I wonder how the hell can I just really enjoy so much of my own company? It is amazing. And like before I was based on more like being polite and it was all pretenses. It's all pretenses. And that is not real. That's not authentic. I don't have to do anything. There is no must, should, or have done. And it is perfect. It is just so freaking perfect. And you stay in peace. And previously I thought, and another thought or thinking on these things. I remember when I was still living in Houston, and then I had this cat, and in the morning I was there, whatever. We had this house, a corner lot, and then I was like, I don't know, watering the plants or something I was doing, and then there was this guy who was, I don't know, he was probably in his 40s or 50s. And he was always running in the morning. And then I always said hi, whatever. And then one day we started speaking. And then he invited me to his home because he had a boat. And he said, if you want, we could go, for a ride or just, sit and talk. So we were sitting on the porch and we were talking. And then he was telling me, and at that time I was like this really really like I was always just telling everything to everybody. And after a while I started feeling that I should not have said that, I should not have said that, I should not have told them, I should not, I should not have do that, I should not have done that. And then he was like a confirmation. He had many businesses. I think he was building laundromats or I don't know what he was doing. And he said, you know what, never really tell them your biggest dream because whatever that you have for yourself, which is really personal. And and I thought, why not? But now I understand why not. uh, because of course, your biggest dreams, of course, eventually will be reached, and then you're gonna have a biggest dream or bigger dream or whatever, because that's just how it is. Then you have bigger and bigger dreams, or whatever that you want and you like and you want to experience. It's all about, to experience that. And um, and then I have to tell you, he was right, because basically, eventually, when my higher self was giving me all those messages, it was saying, condense the energy, condense and accumulate it. And so this is what you do most of the time. It's not that you're going out on the street and with everybody. We do not do those things anymore. We don't. It's like I have very little conversations with people, and very general ones, because I know where they stand. I know what level of consciousness they are. So I don't need to listen to broadcasting, which is not on my level. And I don't spend time with them. It's like very limited. I really cut time with limited, with people with limited consciousness, because it's it's less fun than what I can have with myself. So why to immerse myself into shit? So this is why. So even like I remember when somebody brought that to me once. What, you don't talk to anybody or something? And I did not even notice that. Later I found that message when I dipped back a little bit, and that's when I found the message. Before, I did not even notice it. It did not even get to me, the message. It is so freaking amazing. And so, how, on one side, the universe is assisting us to such a depth that we don't even realize, actually. And, it's whatever. It's just, that's it. And don't beat the drums of the old shit. And interesting, because this night I was clearing something. It's like really debris, and I was clearing something which happened like around a month ago. And I also do my stress relief techniques, and just to keep me clear, keep me attuned to me, to my own channel. And this is what, basically, you're gonna have such a simple life. And whatever. I don't know how it's gonna be later, because we are in this don't know. In this, it's not knowing. It's this not known comfortableness. It's, you feel comfortable in not knowing. And previously I always wanted to know what's gonna be tomorrow, after next week, whatever. Yeah, but what's gonna be? Because fear is the one that is looking to the future. And if you look with fear to the future, you're again, you're in the conditioned mind, because that is the one that was fearing. Now you cannot even fear. Doesn't exist. It dissolves. But first, for that, I had to face my primal fear, to let this fear completely disappear out of me. It's interesting. So I don't know where you are on your path, but always use your own higher intelligence, and do not believe anything that you see externally, and never tune into that fear frequency. But of course, if you still have fear, you're going to tune into that. Basically, it's going to happen. And but you just have to realize what you're doing. And if you can guide your mind, your own mind, and not the mind guiding you or controlling you, like everybody else said it before me too, but we all going to arrive to the same truth on that level of consciousness. And you're gonna realize it within yourself, and that's gonna feel really beautiful and amazing. And it's just perfect. You just You're just gonna wonder, in those days, this is so perfect. How can this be so perfect? And the only thing you need to be is and continuously be the observant who observes the fear in others. Funny thing, like the other day, somebody was nervous, very, really, they were all entangled in the emotional crap that they had in them. And in my old days, I would have been affected by their uncomfortableness. But I was aware and I said, watching her, and when I had the first feeling that her nervousness would affect me, and like for example, I catched myself, my thought and my feelings, I kind of interrupted that by observing it and just okay, I see you. So the observant seeing the observer who was about to go back to the past conditioning. So I had to override it and say, oh, so now you want to join her in her own storm? I mean, you want to be nervous because she is nervous? I mean, who the fuck cares? It's none of my problem. It's her problem. And so you let them to have their problem, or let them be nervous if they want to be nervous. You don't have to join in on their fucking crap. And so basically, you have to catch yourself when you're about to jump into their own crap. So we no longer join the channel. This is it. This is how I can say it to myself. We no longer join the old echo of conditioning. We override it, we break it, we break the cycle. We are here to break the freaking chain because it's a chain reaction. And if you go into that shit, and then other crap will come to you. You don't want to get into that. You just immediately see it and disengage, break the chain. Do not be attached to them. They are separate. They are separate. And you see, this is a lot of misunderstanding on the esoteric communities, because they say we are one. No, we are not one. We are not on the same level of consciousness. We came from the same source, most probably, but I'm not even sure of that sometimes. But of course, we do. But yes, they are potential gods. Perhaps they're gonna realize that one day, because they will one day, but might not, and not in this moment. And this was another one that somebody said to me once a few years ago. They said, Stella, you're always treating people according to their potential and not who they are and in this moment. And he was so very right, my dear friend David from Las Vegas. And it was true, because I have seen because funny thing, my name is Esther. And Esther, how it's written in Hungarian, if you mix the letters together, it means Esther loves. And that is the only name in Hungarian which you can mix the letters, and the word Esther loves comes out of it, meaning loves. And this is the only Hungarian name. And I didn't know that until last year, or I don't know, 1.5 years ago. And because, the funny thing is, I love all of them. It's the funniest thing. And last year I was sitting with somebody and we were having a conversation. I said, it's so amazing to me. How can I love them? I mean, even I can understand a murderer. I can understand everybody. I mean, I can understand all of them. But that does not mean I need to mingle with them. You see? So this is the thing. You can, there are some people who you can only love from far away, because it would not be healthy for you to be involved with them on a daily basis, or because their energy field is is not beneficial to you. So it's like, why to make my life harder than, I mean, aren't we here, in that sense, after I went through all of that stuff, isn't it just really my right to be happy now and be free of all the crap. And so I'm no longer processing other people's emotions. I don't get involved with their stuff, their storm that goes on within themselves. Because many of us were these women in the old days, hundreds of years ago, when we were doing services and we had sex with men who could not process their feelings. So we were kind of like, in that sense, got involved with them, and we were processing that shit. But you see, those people are continuously finding us. But now we are going for our own personal evolution. We are processing ourselves now. We are becoming self-sovereign. So this the divine feminine who are carrying the divine feminine as codes, and they are really converting themselves into sovereign, completely sovereign beings, have no longer, we don't have the obligation, because there is no obligation, but those people continuously will find us in a way. But in one of my dreams, when I was sitting in a clearing, I was coming out of a dark forest, and I sat down and I was like emptying myself, and then all of a sudden this crooked-eared guy came, a younger one, and whatever, and they all wanted to come close to me because I had this light on me. It was from the sky, like really, I had this light uh, streaming on me, and they were coming, and he started this dogmatic crap, and so this is when I said stop. So I said, stop. I am not taking on another one. And you see, this is when we really stop processing other people's feelings, because we consciously choose not to. And so we no longer feel obligated. We no longer feel guilty for not doing that. We no longer feel shame. I never felt shame really, uh, but guilt. I had a lot of guilt stuff, and whatever, that we pick up from parents, or we pick up as a child, or all that stuff, because you get used to this conditioning, you thought that's what you have to do, and to process the feeling of your mothers or whoever was, this codependent dynamics. And all this stuff we don't have to do for no one. No one. If you don't do anything on this world to no one and for no one, you will enter into really so much higher, and you're transcending all the bullshit, and you're gonna leave behind the old crap, all of that conditioning, all of that role models of whatever distorted role models that you've took on, and you kind of associated yourself with that belief or something, and because you were doing that maybe in other lifetimes. And so you're dissolving, 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 and you're becoming empty, empty of all that. So you are going to enter into the realm of nothing will affect you anymore, which is complete freedom. Nothing and no one can affect you. You can just watch him and say, well, that is their job. That is the holy, sacred storm they're going through, and it's gonna be good for them. It's gonna teach them. So you no longer want to take it away from them and want to save them or whatever. Nothing. And it's the same thing as when I was doing workshops, and then we were learning certain techniques, and I was teaching something else. And then one day a girl came and said, maybe you noticed that I've left earlier, right after you finished the stuff, because I felt that you betrayed me. I said, okay. I said, I did not betray you in any way. I did not do anything. I did not, nothing. I don't feel guilty for anything. I don't see how, whatever, how did you come to this um, conclusion? And she said, usually I would not even say a word, and I would just not talk to you anymore. I said, well, it would have been your loss, not mine. But whatever. I said, if you're open, we can all, to this suggestion, We can open this up. When did you feel this the first time? And when did you feel this the last time? It's simple. And eventually, she was open to it. So she, like we kind of, it was a nice cooperation because she was willing to look into her side and wanted to discover more about herself and not just blame me for it. So that was a very good one. And so, but it was very easy. It was like very fast. Of course, it stemmed from her childhood, and of course, it stems from past lifetimes too. But you know, whatever, at least we established, that whatever that needed to be established, and then it was like we are in good terms up until today, and we're good friends. But there are just certain things which, like, they are just little triggers, but the cause and the source is not in that moment, but it's so much earlier and so much, um, so much earlier in your lifetime or other lifetimes. And because all exists in the morphogenetic field, it's there, and you have to clear your own crap. You have to. That's your job. This is what really matters in life, in this life. I know that it may be in another life something else mattered to you, but in this life, at least for me, I can say that because I know it's my inner knowing that this is why I came down. I came down for me, really, and my joy and my self. There is no obligations. It's just really discovering who I am and who I was, and see it and reflect on it. And it's June, and in June you're gonna really going to see everything. It's like you're reflecting. You're gonna look at your whole life, your whole and other lifetimes and stuff like that. And then it's gonna be like, you know, the puzzle. There is no more puzzle. There will be more and more clarity. It's becoming crystal clear, and it's so peaceful. Clarity is a good feeling because clarity is peace, basically. Clarity is harmony, clarity is balance and understanding, and understanding is love. And so, all that. So, it's basically just one after the other. So, thank you for listening. This was it. So, always use your better judgment. And no matter what the words say or whatever, they're so jumping on judgment, but it's not judgment, it's discernment. And so people were misunderstanding certain things, and you always have to really search, because you're going to find your answer. I'm not saying that sometimes it comes on a billboard, your answer, but it's just gonna, like, you just cannot not look at it and cannot not notice it. And so it can come in all forms. It's like yesterday I was sitting on a bench, I was talking, and I was taping certain things, and I was like going through a certain experience, what I learned out of it. And I mean, I think like three times a butterfly was flying onto my shoulder. And every time I said, this is what I learned from this person and through this experience, and I got the confirmation with this little butterfly. And everything will become like a miracle, miracle, because it is when you notice the signs. It's like you notice a confirmation for you. It's for your own sanity. It's for your own understanding. And just enjoy that. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. Share it if you want. But nowadays I don't even share it on an individual level. It somehow feels it tires me to explain there, in on one in that sense. Um, I hardly ever take any clients, and probably I don't know. It's just this interesting thing right now. And the other thing is I used to think in permanency, but now I know that of course there is no permanence because everything is temporary. So maybe this is just for now, and maybe it's gonna be different later, or maybe it's never gonna be different. I don't know. to, I don't need a permanent answer either. I don't even take it as a permanent answer because as I change, all those things will change, you see. So as I choose differently, as um, I'm more comfortable in myself, the less of those so-called, I want to know, it's like it's dissolving. Everything is dissolving. I don't operate the same way as I used to operate. Or then the other day in my dreams, I was checking my computer like a hard drive, and maybe I was checking my own hard drive. What do I know? And everything was okay with the hard drive, but I also seen my mom sitting right there when I was checking my own hard drive, and she was like so worried and so scared, of course, because she doesn't understand me. So it's just very, everything is symbolic. So whatever they think that something's wrong with you, and everything is right with you. And so why? Because now I am in harmony. And I don't know, book cover that I was planning to do, and it was like "Good girl, no more, happy instead." So of course I'm no good girl no more to her because I don't behave the way she's expecting me to behave. And so, but look at me now, and I'm happy, and that's what matters. But they don't know that.